Hi, readers. Yesterday, it was so cool that we found out that we can learn so much about expository nonfiction from just the cover and the book description. Well, today, I want us to look at another part of expository nonfiction books, the pictures. And we can see that we can learn and think so much about the topic from just looking at the pictures before we even read the book. So I'm going to show you how I do this with a book on Epic. But I want you to know, see, I have an expository nonfiction book here too, that's called Insect Bodies. And I also do this whenever I actually have the books in my hand too. So the way that I would do this if we were in the classroom is I would go over to the classroom library, and if I was curious about books about bugs, I might pick this book up right here called Insect Bodies. And what I would do is I would open up the book, and I would look at the cover like we did yesterday, see that it says insect bodies, and it has a picture of an insect on it. So that tells me that it is going to be about bugs, and that it's going to specifically be about their bodies, just like we did yesterday with the covers. And then I would look at the back of the book. So on a book like this, where you can put it in your hands, the book description is usually on the back of the book instead of on that like special page like it is on Epic. So this one says that it is going to be about helpful and harmful insects and their bodies and their life cycle. So that already tells me, that gets my brain going and tells me what I'm going to see when I look through the book. So then what I would do is I would just open up the book, and I would just real quick look at the pictures on the page. Okay, I see a caterpillar there. And while I'm doing this, I'm thinking about a couple questions, 3 questions. And they're the same questions that we thought about yesterday whenever we were looking at the covers of books. The questions are that I'm trying to answer are, I think this book will be about, I think I will learn, and I wonder. So I'm going to think about those 3 things as I'm going through this book. And I'm going to say, I think this book, it's going to be about different kinds of bugs. I noticed that there are like different bugs on every page. So that tells me it's not going to be like a lot of information about one bug, but it's going to be a lot of information about a lot of different bugs. So I think that this book will be about the bodies of different bugs. And I'm seeing all these pictures are showing me that. And from this book, the next question is, I think I will learn. So what I think I will learn from this book is I think I will learn about different bugs and the different adaptations, the different parts of their bodies that they have that help them to survive. And then I'm going to think about what I wonder from looking at the pictures. So I'm wondering from looking at this picture, how these critters without legs, I'm wondering how they move. And I'm wondering what spiders and scorpions eat while I'm looking at this page. So while I look at this book, I'm asking myself those same 3 questions from yesterday. I think this book will be about, I think I will learn, and I wonder. And now I want you to make sure, because I am going to share my screen with you in just a second and show you a book. But I want you to make sure that you are ready with your reading notebook and a pen. And our book today is called From Flower to Honey. So I've written the title as my heading, and I've drawn my little cloud that I like to draw around it, my little thinking bubble. And then I also labeled this a picture walk, because that's what we are doing. We are doing a picture walk. So before I even start reading, I would like us to set up our page in our reading notebooks with those 3 questions that I was just talking about. So I'm going to divide my page into 3 columns. And remember, this is just for our thinking, so it doesn't have to be perfect. And then I'm going to put my 3 things here. This book will be about, I will learn, and I wonder. And as I read and as I look through the pictures during our picture walk, I'm going to think about these 3 questions and add to the column. So make sure that you have your reading notebook, you have the title written as your heading, you've labeled it as a picture walk, and you have these 3 columns all ready to go. So you can go ahead and pause right here if you want to take a second to set up your page. I'm going to share my screen with you and show you today's book. So first we're going to do what we did yesterday with this book. We're going to look at it and we're going to look at the cover, From Flower to Honey, the title that we have right here, and we are going to read the book description. So remember, if we have a book like this, the book description is like what would be on the back of the book. So it says, how is honey made from a flower? Follow each step in nature's cycle, from pretty bloom to tasty treat, in this fascinating book. So what does that tell you? Take a second and think. What does that tell you about this book? What will it be about? Take a second to think. Pause the video if you want to. Talk to your stuffy or someone near you if anyone's around you. What will this book be about? Yeah, so this book is about how is honey, it asks the question right away, how is honey made from a flower? Follow each step in nature's cycle. So then I'm going to fill in this first column right here. This book will be about, it tells me right there in the description, it will be about how honey is made from flowers. And I think I will learn the steps of how honey is made. So wow, look at that. From just looking at the cover and the description, I already know what I think this book will be about and what I will learn. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just go through the book, and I'm not going to read the words this first time through. I'm going to go back and read the whole book later. But what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to go through and just look at the pictures. So I see here, there's a flower, and I remember that this book is going to be about how honey is made from flowers. So that picture makes sense that there's a flower. Oh, and now I'm seeing that there's a bee. So that tells me that the bee must be part of the steps for how honey is made. So that gives me a wonder. Does that give you a wonder? I wonder how bees make honey, because I already know the bees make honey, but this is telling me that bees make honey from flowers. So I wonder how they do that. How bees make honey from flowers. That's something that I wonder from looking at this picture. Now I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep scrolling through the pictures, and I want you to add to your I wonder column. What do you think? What are you wondering about while you look at this? What are those? Maybe that's one of your wonders. What are those? What is this? Maybe you already have some information in your brain about what it's about or what you think it might tell you. So you might add on right here something that I will learn. I know that this is called a beehive, so I'm wondering what bees do in their hive. So that's something I'm going to add to my I will learn column. Keep doing this as I scroll through the pictures. Oh, I wonder what they're doing here, don't you? You might even write, what is that machine for? And then if I'm not sure, like, what is that machine for? I might not remember what that meant later, so I would write the page number here so that I remember why I wrote that later. Oh, so I see them putting honey in the jar. So maybe I'm going to put that. I'm going to draw a picture of the jar and put, I will learn how honey gets put in jars. Keep adding as I scroll through the pictures. All right. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing my screen now that we're done with our picture walk because we've reached the end of the book. And you can add to take a second and pause, and you can add anything that you want to your 3 columns here. So this is something that I like to do. I want you to take a second and think, why might you do this before you read a book? Because my next step, now that I've filled this out, is I would flip to a new page in my reading notebook, and then I would keep doing my sketchnoting about the book, about what I learned from the book. Why might you do this before you even read the book? Take a second and think. All right. So today, your assignment on Seesaw is going to be doing a picture walk. I'm going to put pictures from a book, and you are going to answer these questions. This book will be about, I think I will learn, and I wonder. And I also want you to try this same thing out for one of the books in your Oregon Flora and Fauna collection. So your Seesaw assignment is going to be two parts. The first one is going to be looking at the pictures on there and answering these three questions. And then the second part is going to be asking you if you did this from one of your own books from your Flora and Fauna collection. So good job, readers. I want you to feel so proud of yourselves and for everything that you've been learning about expository nonfiction. And how cool is it that with this genre, we can learn so much about our book. We can look at the cover, we can look at the book description, and we can look at the pictures, and we can learn so much before we even start reading the book. Isn't that so cool? Great job, readers.